week 13 of the fantasy football season, and here's a few running backs. I have his sleeper options this week. The first guy, Michael Carter of the Arizona Cardinals. So Michael Carter, he got some decent work in garbage time in that ball game versus the Los Angeles Rams in week 12. 4 carries, 19 yards, 4 catches, 15 yards. So James Conner, the numbers really haven't been great over the last few weeks here. Michael Carter, a few years ago was a pretty decent running back with the New York Jets. But this season, he just didn't fit that Jets system, and that Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook ahead of him. So right now, while Michael Carter is available in tons of fantasy leagues in 96%, if you need a deep sleeper option, or if you're in the deepest of leagues with a lot of positions, I would give Carter a shot, because once again, I think this Cardinal team will be trailing in this one to the Pittsburgh Steelers, even though I don't think it's going to be a blowout like it was last week for them when they versed. Next sleeper is Jamal Williams of the New Orleans Saints. Jamal Williams, I think he could be a surprising sneak play this week, but a lot of injuries on the offense over here. Chris Olave, we don't know for sure if he's going to play in this ball game. Michael Thomas out, and they're going to want to run the football a little bit more in this one, even though the game could get out of hand early versus Detroit offense, one of the better offenses in the league. Jamal Williams, I know this season he's been a bust. He's been injured as well. In the last few weeks, we really haven't seen much out of him. Week 10 at Minnesota, 4 carries, 7 yards, a catch, 3 yards. And week 12 at Atlanta, 2 carries, 6 yards, and 2 catches, 4 yards. But like I said, if all these guys are out in the receiving core for this New Orleans Saints team, I think Jamal Williams is going to get more touches. And we know he's been a goal line touchdown vulture throughout his career, including last season. We had the monster year with 17 touchdowns and over 1,000 yards. So right now, well, Jamal Williams is out there in over 80% of fantasy leagues. He's a running back I have as a sleeper this week, and the third and final running back I have as a sleeper this week is D'Ernest Johnson of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mentioned Johnson as a sleeper option last week, and he went out there last week and at least had 7.10 fantasy points at Houston. 7 carries, 19 yards, a catch, 42 yards in that one. And going back to week 11, 7 carries versus Tennessee, 20 yards, a catch, 34 yards. So right now, obviously, the backfield is Travis Etienne's job. Tank Bigsby, a lot of people had high hopes for him coming into the preseason and possibly splitting or even taking the job over. But Travis Etienne's been that good this season that Bigsby's been an afterthought. And D'Ernest Johnson's jumped him on the depth chart to the number 2 running back. So right now, while he's available in 98% of fantasy leagues, if you need a deep sleeper, I think D'Ernest Johnson be serviceable for fantasy owners in deeper leagues. That's a few running backs I have as sleepers for week 13 of the fantasy football season.